So you've got a business and you're making money, but you want to bring in a little bit more money this week. Could be that an emergency came up. Maybe you want to hire a coach. You want to join a mastermind, or maybe you just want to go on vacation. You want to get away from the business for a little while. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Whatever your reason for bringing in some immediate cash flow, we're here to help you out. Today, we've got 3 strategies that you can use to bring money into your business this week. We're going to dive into them here in a second. But before we get started, please do me a favor and subscribe to the Laptop Empires channel. We'd really appreciate if you did, and make sure you hit notifications too, because we don't want you to miss out on a single episode. We've got new episodes every Tuesday, always have great stuff for you. And speaking of which, let's go ahead and dive in today's thing and learn about these 3 ways to make money this week. Here we go. Mike here with Bobby Hoyt. Today we're going to talk to you about how you can make more money this week. 3 ways in particular. Pretty excited about this one because when you are growing your business and if you were wanting to, free up more time, I think that's a big thing with online businesses, is have a little bit more freedom. And so you want to earn more while working less. And in order to earn more money and create that time, there's all kinds of different ways to do it, but one has to do with the way you charge and the way you earn more money. So today we're going to talk about one really common way to make more money that everybody knows, which is just get more clients. And then we're going to talk about 2 that people think about less that are very easy to do that you may not have thought about. And they're a little scary. So we'll go into some strategies for that too. So Bobby, let's dig into it, making more money, right? Meow.
You know what's funny? Before we got on here, I wasn't actually sure what we were going to talk about, and I was thinking about this very topic, because, well, kind of a different version of it. But when you run a business, whether it's kind of like very new or if it's kind of like, I guess ours is very new, but we've had a good amount of success early. You get to this point where you're like, okay, how do I grow next? Like, what's the next path? Because you have like these initial, like you have like the fear, or like you jump and you do the thing, or you start the business and you're all excited, and then you make your first little bit of money, and then you're really excited, and then all of a sudden you start bringing in consistent income, and it'll stay generally pretty steady for a while. And that's kind of like where we've been, where we've had for the last like 5 months, I'd say we've had like really steady revenue. But then it's like you're kind of like in the desert almost, and you've got to like figure out like what's the next place that we need to go. But it's, for us, it's getting more sales, getting more clients. And that's what it is for most people. But it's just funny. I was thinking we're kind of in the same place as everybody else with all this stuff.
Yeah. And it's interesting you say that because, I felt that way too. But I was telling you, I was looking at our finances, looking at our numbers the other day, and we're actually, we're actually doing better than we thought. We thought like, okay, we're kind of like in the same place, but we're growing at a much faster rate even than last year. We're way ahead of where we were this time last year.
We're like way outpacing last year.
Yeah. So it feels like we're stuck because I think you and I are always just like trying to push the limit so much. But it's interesting. We're going to talk about these 3 ways. And you said, the big thing we're working on right now is more clients, more students into the course, right? That's kind of the focus right now. But this 3rd one that we're going to talk about is actually kind of the next thing that we're going to be doing, like the next thing we're going to be focusing on. So we're not neglecting all of these things. And actually, I'll just go ahead and give a rundown. So the first one's getting more clients. The second one is charging more money. And the third one is increasing the lifetime value of your clients, or upselling or moving them on to the next thing. And so, we want to bring in more clients because we don't want to charge more money for our course. We feel good about the price. We've increased the price of the course in the past, but we don't want to go further than where we're at right now. But then we have, there are things that our students want and need to go to the next level. And we're going to start providing those here down the road. So you're going to see as we talk about this, there's more than one way to make money. And you can make more money this week by doing any of these 3 things, whether that's selling something new, selling the next step to your current clients, increasing your rates for your current clients, or bringing new clients in. So let's start with the first one. Getting more clients.
Depending on what kind of business you own, like if you own an agency, like we teach Facebook ads, and I mean, it's really a matter of getting on the phone more with people and closing more deals. You just did the other day, you just did that with two clients, you know, putting the work in, doing the outreach, or if you have like referral partnerships, like working those referral partnerships and getting people, you know, getting your at bats and increasing that number. And so that takes like more effort. Cause I think in business, you get to a point where you get kind of comfortable. And then whenever you want to make more money, you have to like step out of your comfort zone, and go do more stuff. And so there's that. And then for the, you know, for the bloggers and, you know, people that run courses and that kind of stuff, it's a matter of getting more traffic, you know, getting more people into your kind of sales ecosystem. And that's what we've been doing with Laptop Empires. We've like taken on all these projects to get more traffic and, you know, different Facebook ads to bring people in and just get more clients. So they both take work though, whether you're going to get on the phone and close more clients, or if you're going to go out and try to build your traffic and build your or get more people into your funnel, you know, it takes a lot of work.
Yeah, but I feel like when it comes to the getting more money thing, like there's different ways that you can do this. Like it's, you know, this idea that you can just magically poof have more clients. It's a little bit harder when you're just getting started, but if you're listening to this and you're a little bit more established, you already have some clients, already have results, you're starting to build a reputation. You don't even have to be where, you know, to the point that we're at, right? With this, you know, like I can pretty easily, when I feel like if I lose a client or I need to replace a client or I want to bring in new cash, I can do like you said, and I can go reach out to referral partners I have and say, hey, do you have any students that, you know, need Facebook ad management? I've got a spot, and I can pick up a client like that. But I think when you're maybe where some of our students are, where you've got a couple of clients, you've started to get active in some Facebook communities, people kind of have an idea of what you're doing. This is a good time for that. And there's a couple of things that I think that the first one is, if you have referral partnerships, if you know the owner of a community, like a Facebook group that you're active in, you can always reach out to them about just making an offer. Right. And so, you know, you can make an offer in that community and give them some sort of referral cut if they're willing. They might be, you know, interested in having you provide some sort of training, like providing, like doing a webinar and then letting you sell off the back end of that. And I think, you know, people are more receptive to that than you might realize. You just kind of have to get the guts to ask and have already been adding value. And by value, I mean like useful content to their community. And then you just got to give it a try. But then, you know, the other things you can do, you can send out an email blast, right? If you've got a list, you can post on your Facebook group and just say, hey, I've got room for one client to do XYZ. If you're interested, shoot me a PM. Like that simple. Like you can do that kind of thing. But then there's some other things you can do. Like you can host your own webinar and promote it for a week and say, I'm doing a training on such and such, and make an offer at the end. Or you could do something like a challenge, right? If I wanted to get new gym clients, I could always go and promote, you know, just on my profile and my email and everything, that I was going to do a challenge that was going to help gym owners create their first offer and set up their sales system or whatever, and deliver that over a 5-day period. And at the end of that, basically offer calls to get them on the phone to sell them where I would run the paid traffic for that. Or I could walk them through an offer on, hey, I'm going to help you set up your funnel over the course of the week. I'm providing massive value to them. And then, hey, if you want paid traffic, here we go. So it can be as simple as just straight up making an offer and saying, hey, hire me to do this. Or you could go with the value first option of a webinar, a challenge, something of that nature, and then, you know, make an offer off the back of that. But it's just making an offer. And as long as you're not one of those ding dongs that's doing it every single week, you know, I hate this with Fit Pros. It's like every week they're posting like, hey, I've got spots for 2, you know, women that want to lose 10 to 15 pounds and, you know, first come, first serve. You know, I just had 2 spots open. It's like, yeah, okay. If 10 people sign up, you're going to take all of them. And the reality is you don't have 2 spots open. You have no clients. Like,
right.
Everybody can see through that. So you don't want to do it too frequently.
Yeah. Yeah. So then there's the next one, which I think is hard for a lot of people. Probably myself included. This is something a year ago I wouldn't have been comfortable with, but just charging more money. right? Like I'm the personal finance blogger in me is always like, no, I don't want to take more money from people than needed. But I think a lot of times in business, you have to kind of recognize, like, is your service like more valuable than you're actually charging? Can you actually charge more and kind of maintain your conversion rates? And a lot of times the answer is yes, because I think a lot of what we do is kind of undervalue our services. We see that all the time in the Facebook side hustle course, where we'll get a student and we tell them over and over again, like, you need to charge $1,000 a month, and they'll immediately be like, yeah, that scares me, I'm going to charge 500. And then they do that for a while and they get like frustrated with that. And then they finally, they bump up to 1,000. It's just kind of like the natural progression. But it's an easy way. Like, if you're providing a service, if you're doing a good job, you can charge more money. And if it's reasonable, you're probably not going to lose many clients. Or turn too many people away. And we saw the same thing with our courses. We debuted Facebook Side Hustle, I think at $247 for the grand opening.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, $247, and I think it went up to $297, and then we went up to $397, and we've stayed there.
We've stayed there,
and we've maintained steady sales, and it's still, people still see that, still feel that there's a lot of value. We get that comment a lot, like, you guys are still way undercharging for your course, but now it's kind of like where we want it to be. We think it's in a good spot.
Yeah, and I mean, and we could take that thing, I think, all the way up to 1997 and would still be competitive. I mean, that's really where the competition is at, right? Is at that $2,000 mark, but we want it to be as accessible to as many people as possible, which is why we've chosen the price we've chosen. I think when you have clients, like, and that's a lot of, I work with so many coaches and consultant types, the pricing thing can be difficult. And I think they're always looking for more leads and more lead gen. They're not always looking at increasing their value proposition and increasing their prices. And I think sometimes that's the harder thing to do. It's the scarier thing. But the reality is it's actually the easier way to, like, make more money. And it's the thing that people, dodge all the time. And what you really got to make sure is, like, are you delivering something extra? Has just your demand and your value just for what you currently do increased, or are you increasing their profit enough to where it makes sense? And I think one of the things I've done is, some of my oldest clients still pay me pennies, right? Because I've been loyal to them. They've been with me for years. And I just, a couple of them, the types of businesses they have, it wouldn't actually make sense for them if I increased my prices, right? And they've been with me so long that I'm willing to stay. But, I have others that have been with me for a long time too, but as their business has changed and I've been around, so long, I have increased my prices because it makes sense for their business. It makes sense for the work I'm doing, and a really good example of that, I did that with a couple of my clients recently, where the workload was increasing, right? They were spending much more money. They were running many more campaigns at the agency. So the workload was increasing. And so what happened is, at first, they were like, I want to add this, I want to increase the budget, I want to scale here. And at first I was adding these things, but there reached a point where the next time they said, I want to add this thing, I just said, hey man, look, I'm happy to do this, but we've kind of reached a point where the workload, I'm going to have to bill you more. And he was just like, yeah, do whatever you got to do. He didn't even ask how much it was going to be. And then I was like, well, let me tell you, and so, he understood, the value of that and that sort of thing as well. I know you said, like, you kind of get the bleeding heart thing. You don't like to charge people more money, but have you had situations that you've charged more money, and how have you handled that?
Oh yeah. I mean, I used to have the bleeding heart. I've been working with you long enough. My heart is like rock hard stone.
Wow.
Now.
making me sound horrible. You're right.
No. It's
true.
Actually, I'm trying to think, because I've done so many different things, where, like, freelance writing and social media management and local SEO and Facebook ad, like, I've done all these different things. The idea, or the one that comes to mind the most, is actually freelance writing. I used to do some freelance writing, and I was doing it for like I might have been doing it like for $100 an article, which is like the bare minimum of what you should do. And now, like, if somebody wanted me to freelance write an article, I wouldn't, like, you'd have to pay me at least $1,000, I think, for me to even touch it. because that's just kind of where I am now. Just for like, I don't have the time to do it. So that's when it becomes worth my time now. But that's one of the things, like anytime where it's like my time is needed, where somebody's like, hey, I need coaching or I need whatever from you. The number for me has gotten so much bigger, just not because I even want to charge people more, but because it's like, well, is that worth my time these days? So that's one thing. But I do think on the flip side of that, if you're a freelancer, because I was thinking about this when you started kind of talking about the second one, there is a point in time where if you're going to raise your prices, you have to be prepared for people to turn you down. Like if I went to a bunch of people and said like, yeah, you can hire me to write a freelance article, but I'm going to charge you $1,000. I'm going to charge you $1,500. A lot of them, like 99.9% of them are going to go, no, thanks. And I think that that's something that a lot of freelancers don't always get.
Or they're scared of, and that keeps them from raising their prices.
Yeah. And so you got to realize there's kind of like a balance. So like, let's say you're a freelance writer, for example, and you've been charging $100 per article and you're like, you know what, damn it, my time's worth more money. I'm charging $350 an article. You're probably going to either lose clients if you go that route, and you have to be prepared for that. Or you're just going to have a hard time getting clients at that next level. So you got to kind of like scale up, but then at the same time, you've also got to realize that people are going to start saying no to you because there's a lot of other people out there that will do the same kind of work for less money. So you kind of have to get a feel for like, what the market is for your services. And just because you feel like your time is worth a ton of money, if the market doesn't bear that, like if, the market doesn't want to pay you $1,000 per freelance article, then it's not going to work unless you get lucky. So that's kind of like I don't know if I took that off topic or not, but it's something to think about.
I think it's good. And I want to give you guys a strategy for raising your prices that will help minimize chasing people off. Before I get into that though, I want to talk about this idea that if you raise your prices, like people, might not buy from you because there's going to be cheaper options. And I think this is important to say because sometimes it is actually easier to sell a higher price service than a lower priced one. Because when you sell a lower priced one, you're viewed more as a commodity. And so when your expertise gets to a certain level, it can actually be beneficial to sell a higher price service. It's also going to change, but what happens is it changes the type of people that you work with, right? And so a really good example of this, we'll talk about like with the ad management. If you're charging $1,000 per month, you're going to get more of the people that are maybe their business is newer, they're newer to paid traffic, they're trying to get started. Whereas if you're charging $3,000 a month, you're probably more likely to get people like Bobby and I that have proven sales and have a proven sales funnel and have systems and have products. And then you're just like helping increase the ROI of those products. And so, it can be a choice type thing. And one of the things that, I talk about all the time is when you're a freelancer, you can kind of do whatever you want. You can work with the type of people you want. And so I know some people that love working with people that are just starting out. I'm not one of those people, right? Like I used to do that. And I find it like just now with the way I want to run my business, it can be frustrating because you have to show them how to do everything, and then there's people that are kind of, in that middle rung, they're getting started. And then there's the people that are really well established and they just want to scale and blow up. Right. And I love working with those people because it's fun. And I like spending big bucks for my clients. So you can, if you raise your fees, like that might mean that you're working with a different type of person that you need to change what you're doing. But if you're changing your fees with your current clients, because that's what this is about, how do you make more money this week? And one of the ways we're saying is charging more money to the clients that you have. I've got a really good strategy for it. And what you do is you figure out what it is that you're going to charge, and you're going to go to all of your clients and you're going to let them know that your prices are going to be increasing. So say you're charging $1,000 per month and you're going up to $1,250. Okay. You're going to go to all your clients and you're going to say, I'm trying to think, today's beginning of June. So I'm going to say something like, hey guys, just letting you know that on August 1st, which is in 6 weeks or is in 2 months, I'm going to be increasing my prices by $250 per month. But since you guys have been with me for so long, since you're a low client, I wanted to give you an opportunity to maintain the rate that you currently have. And so what I'm going to do is on August 1st, the price we'll switch over to everybody, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to pay for as many months at the current rate upfront as you would like to. And I'll honor that rate for that period of time. So if they want to write you $6,000 check, then that means that they're going to get 6 months of your services at the old rate. And then at that time, it will change over. So I started doing this back in my fitness days when I was doing the online fitness coaching, and it worked incredibly well. And now I've used it for the agency. I've taught my students that are, or my coaching clients, that have agencies or looking to raise prices. I've given all of them this strategy, and it works over and over and over. And what's going to happen is you will have some clients that will say, sorry, I'm out. Like I can't afford to go higher or whatever it may be, but most of them are going to be pretty cool with it. And I've had some that are just like, look, I don't want to pay a lump sum. I want to have the cash flow. So just, that's cool. The price will go up, at the end of the month. And I've had others where it's like, here's a year in advance, so you never know. And so that can be a big cash flow injection, like a big shot to the arm to really lock in a client if they pay you 6 months in advance. But it's also, you're going to them and you're saying, the demand for my services, the cost of my services, bringing on the team, like all these things, the costs have gone up. So I need to raise my fees, but I want to be fair to you. And you've presented them a very fair option. And I think that makes it much easier to swallow. And if you're like me, where you work with business owners, they get it, right? They get it. So,
there is a flip side though. And you and I have both done this. You talked about it earlier. There's something to be said for clients that pay you consistently, even if it's a little bit less than what you want to currently 100%. Charge, because having, being able to rely on your business on the same amount of money coming in every single month. Same reason, like my jewelry client, I haven't, I don't even take clients on anymore. I still do their work though. Or my team does their work, but it's like, I haven't gone up on them for 3 or 4 years now because every month the money comes in. So it's like, well, I'd rather have the consistent revenue than scare them off by trying to charge more or whatever. And it's the same thing. It's a loyalty thing. Like they took a chance on me. So I've been, I felt like, I'm going to hook them up.
Yeah. And it's like I mentioned earlier, like I have some clients that are still paying me at this base level. And for me, like I try to treat all my clients like the same, to be fair. But it it was one of those things. If you say, but everything you said before isn't true. But like, every client is different, right? So the clients that are still paying me this base amount that compared to somebody else that maybe is a comparable business that I did raise the price on, they might be comparable in that they're the same type of business, but beyond like the loyalty and how long those people have been with me, there's also the fact that a lot of times those ones that have been with me for a long time are much lower time commitments and much less work, and so whereas the other ones are a little bit more hands-on, and that makes a big difference. So that's something to keep in mind too.
Yep.
All right. So moving on to the third one, which is sell more stuff to your current clients or increase their lifetime value, whatever it is that you want to do. What this one's really about is that when somebody comes and works with you, there's always a next step. And this is something that like you and I, we talked to our good friend, Jessica Lorimer, and she was like, you guys need to be doing this in your business. And we know we do, but it's like one of those, like you can only do one thing at a time. So we haven't gotten to it, but when somebody works with you, you're helping them solve a problem. But once you do that, there's always there's a next step, there's a next problem, and you want to be able to serve them and provide the solution to that problem, because they've already built up that trust. They know you can help, you can help them, and they're going to want to move on with you and continue working with you. And so this is not necessarily an upsell, but just having that kind of product ladder, and so you might have the initial, I think a lot of people have, like, there's the course, and then there's the group coaching, the one-to-one coaching, the mastermind events. Like there's these different kind of things that like kind of, you can scale people through. And so you might want to consider something like that you could have. I think a really good example of this is what I was starting to talk about earlier, that I've used, that we've taught our students. It's something that they can actually buy when they buy the Facebook Side Hustle course. It's an upgrade for $97 is you can provide additional services. And so one of the big ones that I use is a lot of my clients want to do brand awareness. They want to promote video. You and I are currently doing this for Laptop Empires, but they want to promote video and they want to, just get their brand out there, have people more aware of them, start building that audience, have those retargeting audiences to get more people on their list, make more sales. And so, there's a lot of times where I will get the core lead gen funnel done for a client, or the core list building funnel, or whatever it is that we're doing to help them generate sales. And then once that's established, I'll go to them and say, hey, we have this. Now let's supercharge it. Let's start promoting video. Let's start promoting content, build these new audiences, retarget those people that are warmer and already know you, like you, and trust you into that same sales funnel to make your sales easier. And then the people that come in through the cold traffic to your sales funnel and don't convert, let's get them into the video and then bring them right back so that maybe they get to know you a little better and come back. And that's a great way for me to take $1,000 client and then turn them into a $1,500 per month client by adding another service that it adds some work and some time on my end, but it's not, so much that it's going to like make that increase in cost just cover the expenses. It's going to give me a little bit of profit. It's going to add a little bit more. And so I've done that recently. So if you're like, hey, I need some more money this week, then you can look at the clients you have and go, who's ready for the next step? Who's ready to do the next thing, right? And you can make that offer. And maybe they'll take it, maybe they won't. But like I said, sometimes you got to make offers to get paid.
Yeah, totally true. Yeah, so I think the key with all of these, and I think I touched on it at the very beginning, is that you've got to step out of your comfort zone a little bit. Whether you are going to raise your prices or, you're going to go out and get more clients or whatever you want to do. If you're a blogger and that means like hiring a writing team, or if you want to start doing coaching or whatever, like making more money more often than not is either something where you teach yourself something you didn't know and you start applying it in your business, or you step out of your comfort zone and do something that you need to do, but you're procrastinating for whatever reason because you're scared or whatever. So that's the big deal. Just if you are ready to make more money right now and you have an established business or even a business that's newer, but you're still bringing in money, look at your business and go, what's the next thing I can do right now to bring in more money? And am I uncomfortable? And if I am uncomfortable, I need to just like get past that and go do it. Yeah,
for sure. And I think, and that's part of growth. Like I always feel like I know when my business is growing because I'm uncomfortable. Like you have to be a little bit uncomfortable. If you're feeling really good and you're feeling really comfortable, then that means that you're stagnant. So you kind of want to run to those things that you're avoiding or those things that make you uncomfortable, because that's really where the money is. That's where the growth is going to happen. So thank you so much for tuning into the Laptop Empire Show. I hope you enjoyed today's show. It was great to bring Bobby in for once to do this video with me. And I hope that you can go take the lessons that we shared and go apply them to your business to make some money this week, because that was the whole point of the thing anyway. So let me know in the comments of these 3 strategies, which do you think that you can implement right now? What's going to be the easiest to implement in your business? And if you have any other suggestions of great ways that people can, go make money right now, outside of, we had somebody like a week ago comment about how selling meth was a great side hustle. Not really sure about that one. So, but if you've got any real legit ways that people can go out and make some more money in their business right now this week, please let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That way you don't miss any of our episodes that we have coming out every Tuesday. Really appreciate you being here. We'll see you next week.